Subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon for the latest film interviews, features, and recommendations on the movies that matter.
Folks, it's good to see you. That's a really slick trailer that you've cut for your new film, which is also a 6-part series, and we'll talk about that. So what we know right now is that it's slick. It's a great ensemble, and I know that there are other actors who are in the film who are not here today. We know Harshvardhan Rane is in it. We know that Abhimanyu Singh is in it. We know Saloni Batra is in it. So there's more. We know that Taish means extreme anger or rage. I know it's meant to be a revenge drama, but Bejoy, is that literally all that we're meant to know at this point? Because it feels like I rattled off many things, and yet it's a great trailer, but it really doesn't tell you a lot.
Well, I'm firmly of the belief that as much as you can, the communication that you put out, as long as it sets the tone for what people can expect, I think that's good enough for them to, and that should definitely do its job and raise the curiosity for sure. But I just hate watching trailers and teasers just give everything away. Right. So that's the reason why even the teaser, of course, we didn't give anything away, but trailer. Also, I was very careful on making sure that we don't let out the plot, we don't let out too many things about the story, and let's just not spoon feed everything. That was my intention. So that
and you have succeeded with flying colors because it gives away practically nothing, and yet it creates an appetite, which I suppose is really the job of the trailer, right?
Correct, exactly.
Right. To the actors, I want to ask you, what were you responding to each of you, what were you responding to when you said yes to this job, to this gig? Was it specifically your role? Was it the way that the story, the larger story and how that unfolds, or was it something else?
See, can I go like order wise? The most important for me was the fact that I'm getting to work with Bejoy Nambiar. Okay. Then came the fact that he had a fantastic story. And then came the fact that it was a role that I have never played or a character that I've never put on. So these three things were very exciting. And then I got to know that there is an ensemble cast which is so exciting to be a part of. There is Jim, there is Kriti, there is Sanjeeda, there is Harsh, there is Ankur Rathi, there is Sarbh Sachdeva, there is Saloni Batra. So such an amazing cast. Why would I say no to be a part of it? So I was all on board.
Right. Okay.
So मेरे I would just say that it's my first film. मतलब मेरे पास option नहीं था कि मैं उनको बोलूं कि मुझे करनी है नहीं करनी है. मैं चाहती थी बिजॉय please मुझे ले लो इस film में.
Right. That's an important
Yeah. So sir, for me, I mean, I'm glad that he saw. I play a character of Jahan, so I'm glad कि उन्हें Jahan का character मुझ में दिखा, and I'm just overwhelmed and so excited for the project.
Nice. Jim, for you?
Yeah, the meeting first was just to meet Bejoy, and we met when I was with a different agency, and we met and we just chatted about things in general. We didn't talk about this movie. And then we met again, and this time he had the script and everything. So, of course, the initial thing was like how Pulkit said, just the idea of working with Bejoy. And then once I did read the script and I heard his narration of the entire thing, I did get very interested in my character, and I particularly got interested in one aspect of it, which is the representation of male friendship. I think a lot of the times you go to watch a Bollywood commercial film, the idea is that it's all about it's predominantly about the romance. It's predominantly about the hero and the heroine. And I hadn't seen an ensemble film where it looked more at what a friendship is like, how a friendship grows, what is its nature? Does it split up? What can be the one thing that can break it? What can be the one thing that can bring it back together? That was actually the thing that hooked me to it right in the beginning. Of course, as the script got fleshed out and I read more characters and and then all of these other wonderful actors and actresses came on board, then things change and other things also become your focus. And but the essence of it for me right in the beginning was that idea of seeing a really deep strange, and in me and Pulkit's case, odd couple male friendship where opposites have attracted. And these opposites somehow, and it's great. And even with your friends, it usually is that the other person, you provide, let's say if you're reckless, the other person provides a bit of worry. So then, and somehow you come to a midpoint as a consequence between the two of you, a good midpoint between worry and recklessness, because neither is good by itself.
Right. Nice. Kriti, for you?
To be very honest, I don't have one specific reason. I mean, of course, working with Bejoy is something that I think every actor looks forward to when they enter the industry. There are a few directors that one really, really wants to work with. I've done a lot of commercial cinema in terms of Houseful and Pagalpanti, and those are the kind of films I've indulged in. And a lot of times people used to ask me why I'm not doing cinema that's a little different, and maybe they saw something in me that I knew existed. But the honest truth is, an actor has to choose from the kitty of projects that they are offered. It is not my choice. I can always say I would love to be a part of this film, but it's up to the director to be able to see you in that vision. And to be very honest, I think Bejoy is one of those few directors who's willing to take that risk with an actor. He's willing to see you in a different light from what you really are, or what you've portrayed on screen, or the kind of characters you've played in the past. And I think that's very important, because if Bejoy hadn't seen me the way he saw Arfa, and he saw me as someone just doing comedies or doing commercial cinema, he would have never cast me. In fact, if anything, I'm grateful to Bejoy, because I think after this, it's going to open a lot of doors for me in terms of the kind of work I would really love to do and be challenged as an actor. For me, Taish is that big ticket. To be very, very honest, it was a film that I chose for my own benefit, and I was completely selfish. And I'm very proud of the decision I made, and I'm proud that I got to work with Bejoy and with this amazing cast, of course. But my reasons were extremely selfish. I was waiting for that one director to point out and say, she has potential, let's take it forward. And I found that in Bejoy, and I'm grateful to him for that. I mean, I know that Taish is going to open up a lot of doors for me, so I thought way ahead and into the future, to be honest.
Bejoy, you're no stranger to films with a big ensemble. I mean, you cut your teeth on that. I mean, Shaitan was that as well. I mean, you've seldom actually made just the two character or the three character story. What tend to be your concerns, or what tends to excite you when you're telling a story that is such a wide canvas?
I think it's become inherent to my storytelling. I like to delve into this kind of complex storylines with not necessarily just one or two characters. There'll always be multiple threads flowing to the story, and that's something that always excites me. At the same time, maybe that's also my Achilles heel. I need to kind of work on that to try and say maybe a simpler story. But every time I find myself drawn to telling layered, multiple narrative stories. So and I passionately kind of I start getting attached to that kind of dense storyline with complex characters, and most of the stories, I mean, Taish was definitely, but even before Taish, what I was working on was almost on the similar line. So I know that that's the kind of zone I find myself always going towards, and I think it's become inherent to my storytelling, and I hope I can get. I have failed, of course. I failed in the past on that, but it still doesn't stop me from attempting it. So I'm hoping I can get better at it. That's all.
Now, I know you don't want to give away too much about what the film is, and yet I feel like I want to ask you, what was the one idea perhaps that drew you to wanting to tell the story? Was there one idea that the film was mounted around?
So,
I mean, Jim's spoken about the idea of friendship between men. And that as an actor sort of interested him. But what was your starting point? What was the idea that became the kernel for this film?
Actually, the germ of this story was from another story. I had written another story a long time back. I can't really tell you about what it was, because that's what this is about. But the germ of the story was from another story. And this kind of evolved into Taish. And I was still not sure of whether I wanted to do this subject. I was not sure whether I wanted to do Taish, because I was trying to almost take an old idea and marry it into a new thing, and trying to see whether it kind of still fits and works. Then there was this one scene I wrote, and I just got so attached to that one scene. And I remember reading, I think it was, I remember asking also, Shah Rukh Khan. Shah Rukh Khan said yes to Dil Se because of one scene. Because when Manisa narrated Dil Se to him, there was this one scene he heard, which he said that for that scene, I want to do the film. I don't care how the film comes, but that scene for me is what worth everything. Like I would want to do that scene.
Right.
And I remember asking about also. So, but it never made sense to me. How can one scene make you want to like
Build the whole story around it. Yeah, yeah.
into that, you know? But I found that at that time it was called Spark. The story was called Spark. And I literally found the spark in that one scene. I can't talk about that scene right now. Maybe later.
I mean, I just feel like you're not giving me much.
I think we are just
Jim is
really
gonna go rogue and give me. So listen, okay, you can't tell us about that scene, but I want to ask. I feel like your actors must know what scene it is, right? I mean, don't tell me.
We want to,
Jim is
we want to know, seriously.
Jim is asking which scene, Bejoy? Which scene?
Yeah.
Give
us a hint. We'll know. Don't
Give us
tell
a
them.
hint.
Yeah,
We
just
will
give us a
know.
little hint.
Okay, who's in that scene? Can we ask that? Like,
Which
It's
Which
me.
side
I'm
of the
open.
family?
Please.
The scene with Jim and Pulkit and Abhimanyu Singh.
Okay. You know, what I also like about the trailer and I thought was quite cool is when you're an action film and this is clearly, you know, there's violence and it feels like the women are not just ornamental. You know, it feels like the girls have a part to play. And I feel that that's true actually, Bejoy, right from the start, right from Shaitan. I mean, the women were never just there because they were pretty. You know, Sanjeeda and Kriti, can you talk about that? And you know, I know Sanjeeda, you said that you were just happy to be cast, but was it nice to have to actually have something to sink your teeth into?
Yeah, so because I've done so much of TV and I've done so many characters that it gets repetitive, you know, when you're doing television, because you're doing a character for like number of years and then you're like, creatively it doesn't satisfy me because I'm doing that thing every day. So when I, of course, heard the character, I was like, oh my God, if I get this, because I had to get it. If I get this, it'll be bang on because I'll get something to perform. I wanted to prove myself and I wanted to see, because on TV, everyone's like, "Arey, dance अच्छा करती है लड़की." Acting के बारे में कभी बात नहीं की. So I was like, देख लो यार, acting भी देख लो. So I'm, as you said that, in that matter, Arfa's character or Jahan's character or Sanobar's character, every girl in the film, they are so intense. They are so amazing, like when it comes to their performance. And for me, it was all the more challenging because the dialect was Punjabi. तो अब पंजाबी भी सीखनी है, तो और भी prove करना है. So yeah, I am so happy that Jahan happened to me.
I just want to add to the fact that the writers of the screenplay who collaborated with me, Karthik and Anjali, they were very aware of the fact that we treat the women with respect in the film. Even though the film it's a heavy male testosterone filled kind of film, but the women, like you said, they cannot be ornamental characters. Each character, each woman in the film plays a very pivotal part in the story. I mean, they're not just there for just to kind of take the story forward. They're playing an important part in the story. And within, because the thing is, ensemble is, when you're trying to do justice to so many different characters, the material starts getting bloated. So you have to be very careful that within the material, within that crisp scenes that are there, there's still something heavy and weighty that you're doing with those characters as well. So they both were very, very helpful in that. Karthik and Anjali especially, I think that Anjali was used to discard my ideas when I used to write for Arfa, write for Jahan. She used to just say that this just doesn't work. You can't write women like that. And I initially get very upset because you feel like, okay, maybe I don't know how to write for women. So then, I'll give an example. A friend of mine, a friend writer of mine called Radhika, who read the script, was very upset that the first scene of Arfa, Kriti's character, was her coming out of a shower talking with Jim. And she said, why can't you show her normal? Why does it have to be? I said, but I'm not showing it in a sensuous way. She's just coming out of a shower and then having a conversation. She's like, no, but then it's like this stereotypical way of heroine, first shot of the heroine and you're showing her from coming out of the shower and having a conversation. Why? Show her doing something real. And I had such a huge argument But then I saw merit in that, and the first day, of course, I couldn't take it. But when I rewrote that scene, the first opening scene of Arfa is way different now, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying, this is a version of the script that I don't even know about.
Yeah, it never
But
came
that's
to
so
me.
wonderful, right? That is so amazing that we're having these conversations, and that even within the writing team, that you have partners who are telling you that let's do this differently. Let's not. Let's make these little changes, and that really contributes to. I mean, if everyone were doing it, we'd see a huge change. So well done, really. Yeah, Kriti, you were saying.
I have to give the entire credit to the entire team, Bejoy and team, because whatever role Jahan and Arfa play, for that matter, Sanobar, even Zoa's character, it is so relevant. It is relevant. It does take the story forward. They are an integral part of it. And when they are not around, you will miss those characters because you will wonder how would he or she react to so-and-so character. It's the first time I think I've been a part of an ensemble where I didn't think there was a defined hero or heroine on set. And I loved that. I love that style of working. I love that style of equality. It is not just male and female. It is even the character artists, every single person who played every single character, be it Jim's parents, be it Sunny and his sister, be it Sanobar and family, be it Jahan and family, be it me being in solitude, or anything for that matter, everyone was given equal importance on set. Everyone was made to feel like they are contributing to a film, and you can see that energy in the trailer. You can actually see that everyone is feeling like they're a very important part of something. And that feeling comes only when people around you make you feel very comfortable. It never felt like Bejoy was narrating a film to me where he said, you have to come out of the shower while talking to Jim. Like I said, when Arfa's character was introduced, even in my narration, I struck a chord with her. There was something about her that I found very strong. There was something about her that was so lovable, but you watch out and you're like, you're careful. You want to be careful of this girl because you don't want to rub her the wrong way. And I think a part of me would want to be that person in the years to come. I'd be very honest. Arfa is someone I would like to adapt a few things from in the years to come.
Nice. Pulkit and Jim, just judging from the trailer, from whatever I've been able to understand of it, I mean, y'all are the friends at the center of this. Did y'all know each other? Getting into this, did y'all know each other very well? I don't know if y'all had worked together before, but also, and pardon the question because I know it's going to sound a little bit cliched, but we know that a lot of these cliches are rooted in the truth. I mean, when there's a film with 3 male actors, I mean, sort of playing leads, there is this. I mean, traditionally there has been a tendency, and I'm sure Bejoy will agree that the cliche of looking at how many scenes I have over reading the entire script. It's not untrue. I mean, it happens. Was this not that kind of set? Does he have more scenes? Does he get to take off his shirt more often than I do? I mean,
not even once did any of them come to me also. I mean, I can be very honest. Not even once did any of them even broach a topic like that. Like, that they felt that this is not enough or that they had a lot of questions, a lot of queries with respect to the character, with respect to the story. In fact, I remember when I narrated it to Pulkit the first time, Pulkit was most excited about Jim and Harsh's character. The first reaction he gave was that moment with them. This guy was so good. So I was like, but you are playing Sunny, you know that. I got scared. He thought that he's playing the character. But he was excited for the others. So I think they all came in with that kind of an energy, which I'm really thankful for. And not even once did any of them even have those kind of insecurities at all.
No,
but did you all know each other?
To be really frank, no, we didn't know each other. We met only through this film, but I've obviously seen Jim's work before. I've seen Harsha's work before. But as Bejoy said, when I listen to a certain script, be it Fukre, be it Taish, any kind of film, I do not see how many characters are there or what is happening there and how many scenes does one character have and the other one has more and what is the screen space. I always see the film in entirety from the director's vision. That's why I like narrations more than reading a script myself, because I want to see the movie from your perspective. If I like it from your perspective, then I have to cover that journey of 2-3 years that you have covered with that particular story within those 2 or 3 months that we get to work on a certain project, right? So that is my way of working. And that leaves me, in fact, on set so many times, I find a certain dialogue difficult. I always say, please. ये वाला उसको दे दो, ये मेरे से नहीं बोला रहेगा, ये टाइमिंग पकड़ ही नहीं पाऊंगा मैं, ये आप इधर पकड़ा दो, इधर पकड़ा दो, and I'll play with my silence, it doesn't matter. But if you behave well in the silence as well, the director is gonna use that character and that expression in his entire narrative. It doesn't matter whether I'm there in every scene or every other scene or just 2 scenes. It really doesn't matter. That
didn't stop me from taking precautions, though, I must say. It didn't stop me from taking precautions to shoot, because I planned the shoot in such a way that I shoot with one section of like one family first, which is Harsh side of the family first. We started off there, and then we moved to Pulkit and Jim's family, and we were shoot. So I made sure that I kept them away for some time. But by the middle of it, they were all together and they were all kind of, you know.
Yeah, but that's because we all were like on the same set. You can't put a barricade in between and be like, you all are one side, we are one side.
I remember Pulkit's entry shot, Harsh came and then he was trying to.
Yeah, I remember that.
Pulkit's jacket.
Jim, how do you remember the shoot?
We didn't know who would be playing Sunny for a bit, and then when I heard that it was Pulkit, of course I wanted to meet and rehearse as much as possible before we could go on our ways. And you know, I know it's a bit presumptuous for one actor to say, "Hey, man, we have to rehearse. Let's rehearse." You know, if the team hasn't set it up, you're asking for a personal favor. So I didn't know how it was going to go, because, you know, people are busy and people have other things to do and 1,000 other things. And instead, I was just floored by how interested he was in it, how generous and amazing he was. He invited me over to his place a couple of times. You know, fed me, rehearsed for as long as it was.
Always with good food, I remember.
I think he's got that Punjabi mummy ki atma inside him. He has to feed people all the time.
Actually, it went from any kind of like, oh God, I'm worried, I don't have my lines yet, to like, oh no, we're gonna be fine. It's going to be fine. If it's Pulkit and this is how he is, everything is going to be just fine.
So it's really you're kind of getting a sense of the person when you're actually asking for these things. Is that it, Jim? I mean, because rehearsals is as much about sort of familiarizing yourself with. I mean, it's as much about learning about the other person as it is about familiarizing yourself with the lines.
Totally. And you know, anything that. Sometimes you wonder, oh, we're such different kinds of actors, that the projects we've done so far have been in such different categories. How is our chemistry going to be? And I found that when we met, actually, it was only an advantage that we had such different schools of thought and different approaches to acting. Like how Pulkit has been saying in other interviews. What do you think, man?
No, this has been like, you know, we all have come from a very different school of acting, be it Harsh, be it Jim, be it me. I have always, you know, done love stories and comedies. And this is something very different for me to try as an actor. Jim has always come from a very different, you know, he's performed in a very, his approach to the craft is very different from what I do. But we could, as he said, कि वो एक जो balance होता है, that balance we were able to find from the word go. Like he wanted to rehearse. So we said, let's rehearse, let's do the lines. It gets to your head as well, कि यार कितना rehearsal करेंगे, what are you doing? But then you understand that he's not comfortable with the language. He needs to understand the emotion behind it. Then he can play around with. I am comfortable with that language, so I can improvise on the set, even if I get the lines right there. You know, once I get hold of the character. So it just goes that way. And he would also reciprocate with different kind of improvisations. We would do theater exercises, which he would be more aware of, but lacking my experience in theater, I didn't know much about those exercises. So we improvised based on those exercises. We dig up further down into our characters. And it's the teamwork that actually helped us reach where we are.
I really like that bit in the trailer where Jim says, "Hello Dula, hello Dulhan, tum log bhaag ke shaadi nahi kar sakte." You get a sense that this guy is who this guy is. But I want to ask you, Bejoy, the film, of course, was originally meant for theatrical release, and then of course the pandemic happened, and you all decided to send it straight to streaming. But of course, what you've done is there going to be two different ways to be able to watch the story. You can either watch it as a 2.5-hour film, or you watch it as a 6-part series. Now, you've also said that both versions are not exactly the same. You cut a different version. So if you just watch it in 6 parts, you're going to see a different version than you would if you watch it as a 2.5-hour film. So you actually cut 2 different versions. What was that like? Did it feel like? You said it allowed you to go more into to explore the characters more, to give them more room, which means that you shot a lot more than you needed originally. And did it feel like cutting 2 entirely different, not entirely different, but did it feel like cutting 2 projects, like 2 separate projects?
It felt like cutting 2 completely different kind of projects, because the film, we did one cut. We did our ideal cut, which was like ridiculous. It was like a 3-hour, 10-minute cut, which I knew will never fly. We'll have to bring it down. And I knew that when I had to bring it down, there are a lot of things that I have to let go. And we already started working on an alternate cut for that. But just before I did that, I showed it to a couple of people. I did like test screenings, and I did show it to a couple of people, and we actually made like a proper questionnaire to find out what worked for them, what didn't work for them, who worked for them, what didn't work. So we did the whole detailed thing for that, and it was a 3-hour, 10-minute cut that they saw. But by the end of it, there was a lot of learning from them, because a lot of people mentioned that if this was a series, and they kept saying, if this was a series, if this was a series, I would have said, and I wanted to know more about this character, I want to know more about this world, I want to know more about this. That thing kept coming up. This was a series, so that set me thinking. And we were anyway gearing up for a theatrical release, and then lockdown happened. So the lockdown actually helped me and my editor to just revisit the material and try a cut. And we knew that we can't go the same way that we cut the film. So we actually said that let's keep the film cut aside. Let's just start from fresh. And then we kind of, we just went through the script, decided the points on how we want to start with the first episode. In fact, the first 3 episodes were the difficult ones. We knew that the last 4, 5, 6 will be easy, because we knew the structure for that. But the first 3, we had to crack the structure for it. And we actually cracked it on paper first, and then we did an edit based on that. So I actually enjoyed doing that a lot, because it's revisiting your own material in a different way. So it's a new thing. Right. It was a learning for me.
Right. So
but
I know
that point when I was doing it, I thought then, and then when I showed it, people started liking the 6th episode. I thought, oh my God, now I've kind of created a demon. Now I have to stick with this. My film version will never see the light of day. But luckily for me, the Zee guys were supportive enough, and they agreed to let me release my film as well as the episode series.
Well, I have to say, I'm really excited, because I feel like with Bejoy, he's always someone who's playing with form, who's playing with, with style, what he did with Shaitan, what he did with the song. I loved David. I mean, I loved stories in David. I really enjoyed what you did with Solo. Not everything has to work, and not everything works, but I feel like you really, you're doing things with cinema which are interesting. I love the episode of Flip that you did with, that was you directed, Jim, right, in that one? I really enjoyed that. So all the best. Listen, thank you guys. All the best. I feel like the trailers created the appetite. I will be there on the 29th, and I will watch it. I'll watch the film first, and then maybe the show. But thank you, and all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.